again. How is everybody doing this evening? Happy New Year. It is January 1st, and I've been posting stuff on YouTube all day long. I've been on hiatus. It's been holidays. It's been fun. It's been exciting. It's been busy. It's been also kind of unfortunate in ways as well. Sarah and I and the kids were able to make our trips this year to see family, which was good, at least Sarah's side of the family. Last year, the whole house got COVID and we weren't able to go anywhere, so it was kind of a bummer. It was the worst Christmas ever. And this year we had a fantastic Christmas. It was like, I've been in the Christmas mood this whole season. The Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special came out. That really put me in the mood. Got some good new music that I'd never heard before. I'd say new. Some of it was new. Some of it was just stuff I'd never heard before. And then there was that one Smashing Pumpkins song that I've always really liked. But I digress, and I just really got in the mood for Christmas, and the kids had a wonderful time and really liked all the stuff that they got, and we got to see, again, all of Sarah's family. But Thanksgiving was real rough because I got sick, and like half my house did. I guess a little bit more, actually. We've got 7 people in my house now, and I'm responsible for co-creating 5 of them. So my wife and I... So I got sick, and everybody else but Selena and my wife did. This was Thanksgiving, and so Sarah spent all day long making dinner, and then it was wonderful, but I was only able to eat a little bit of it. I had almost no appetite, and most of the rest of the kids couldn't really eat either, and so Sarah was the only person that had an enjoyable Thanksgiving. And then we were okay for Christmas, and then we came back, and a couple days after the trip, my wife got sick, and she's been sick for the last 5 days, 4.5. So I've been kind of running the house and, by myself while she's been off. The lucky thing is that it wasn't while she was having to go to work, so I guess that's good. But anyway, I've managed to get some videos made after hours, and things have been, not too stressful, not too hectic. Our twin girls have gotten a lot easier to take care of. They've been a lot of fun. Just this last week especially, it seems like they've kind of gotten over some hurdles in their development, and we're starting to get into a real fun patch with them. They're, 17, close to 18 months old now, so getting closer and closer to the 2-year mark. So anyway, it's been something of a roller coaster, but overall, it's been nice. It's unfortunate that I haven't got to see any of my family yet at all for Christmas. My mom dropped off Christmas presents on our doorstep last night. We were supposed to have a party yesterday. That didn't end up working out, so a little bit of a bummer. But anyway, I just wanted to pop in, touch base with everybody, and say, hi, I'm still alive, and I'm making videos, and hopefully we're going to have a really cool 2023. I've got neat things planned. I'm doing this new Not Spawn Year series that I just announced yesterday, started dropping today. We'll see how well I'm able to keep up with it. It's a challenge. The idea is, can I get 365 consecutive comic reviews out in a row? I'm somewhat notorious for starting projects and not finishing them, and I realize that this isn't, I'm promising this is, I'm going to try it and see how it goes. The nice thing with this project is it's just to see how many I can do out of my personal collection, and I'm jumping around to lots of different things, so it's all about variety. There's no commitment. You don't have to watch all of them. I don't have to remember what happened last issue to get into the next issue, because they're all totally disconnected and discombobulated. The idea is it's a comic review video day calendar, and I'm going to try really hard to keep up with it. I have a number of them in the can already. I'm going to shoot some more when I'm finished with you guys tonight. And in the middle of the month, we'll be back to regular live content here on the channel. And I'm going to try to keep up with basically the schedule I had before. I might have to cheat occasionally on Mondays with Rewind. I might end up putting out fewer of those through the year in order to make this crazy comic thing happen. But I'm still planning on doing at least a couple of those a month, which has been about my average lately. Anyway, so let's see who's here live. Good to see everybody. Once again, really quick, let me reiterate. The Captain Logan Show will return middle of the month, twice a week again with me and DJ, of course. And I'm going to try to start off that week with a new Superhero Rewind Unscripted on Power Rangers 2017. That's the next one on the docket. And up until then, I'll be putting out these daily comic reviews, and I might stream here and there once or twice more, but I'm planning on really focusing on that. So I might occasionally pop in, but so it's not a full-blown hiatus. I'm doing stuff, but I'm not going to be streaming 5 days a week like I usually have been. Welcome, everybody. Quite a crowd here. Hayden Spring, Alex Barron, I see. There's Tyler Thompson. A lot of the usual suspects. Really nice to see you guys pop in. I was not planning on doing this tonight. I really just couldn't help myself. I've been in the mood to do video stuff today, working on this project, and I got out a Heroes of the Grid video today that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and I was like, I could probably carve out an hour and say hi to everybody, wish everybody a Happy New Year, and see what's going on with you folks. Hello, AMC. Good to see you. Adam March is here. Austin is in the comments there, and he and I and the family spent part of the evening playing Jackbox, which was a whole lot of fun. We got some really silly t-shirts that we not real ones, although Austin is ordering one, but in a game, I forget what it's called, where you draw silly t-shirts and then pair them up with taglines that people come up with, and it's a ton of fun. It was really amusing. I've played Jackbox quite a bit with the Patreon Discord, and we usually just do Quiplash, but there's a couple of other games that I've liked, and some of them are drawing things. I usually don't like the drawing games because I'm terrible at drawing, and then I found out what you actually do in it, in pairing things together and voting and stuff, and I always get one over on those. I'm like, boo, I hate the drawing thing, and then it ends up being my favorite game, and this one was no exception. Okay, I'm doing a lot of rambling now. Feel free to throw out any questions tonight that you want to on anything. Just want to chat with you for an hour. Austin says we were playing with the kids. I was on my best behavior. Yes, he was. TKO, yeah, that was the name of the game. Thanks, Austin. And Austin, thanks a lot again for grabbing that game on Xbox so that you can stream it and we could see your end. Goofster, any thoughts on the Zaslav wave hitting the Looney Tunes of all things? So I have not been keeping up real hard on news. I don't immediately know what you're talking about. I hope you don't mean that they're already taking a bunch of Looney Tunes cartoons off of HBO Max like they have been with Sesame Street. That would be a bummer. That would hurt my feelings. Boy, I hope that's not what you're talking about. I bet that's what you're talking about. Austin, the drunk stream is one of the most fun shows I've done. Everybody's calling this the drunk stream. We did a stream last week and a half ago called Cap Can't Christmas, and the whole plan for that stream was just I was going to play a Christmas hack of Super Mario World, and it turned into let's throw in super chats to see if we can get Cap to take shots. And I took shots of a number of different kinds of beverages, and I think I was able to keep my wits about me and keep my head together decently well after a few shots. I'm not going to say exactly how many, but yeah, that was a really enjoyable stream. And then it turned into karaoke at the end for some reason, and I think I sang like 6 or 7 different songs. They begged me to keep the stream up. There were a few things that happened during that where I was like, ooh, I don't know if I should have said that out loud, where I got real loosey-goosey, and the audience insisted that I keep the stream up. I seriously thought about making it unlisted, maybe just putting it on Patreon, but it's still there if you want to take a look at it. Jump around. It's like 3 hours and 45 minutes long, I think. Alex Barron, one of my instructors in film school, was on the production design team of Power Rangers 2017. Oh, that's really interesting. I want to say good job, but I don't love the look of the production of that. Well, I say that. There's things in it that I actually do really like a lot, and I mean, the costumes I was not impressed with. I don't think they're toyetic enough. I don't think they made for good merchandise, but they looked surprisingly good in the movie, and the set building was good. I liked the design of the command center, the end of the inside of the ship and stuff. Didn't mind Zordon being in a wall. So yeah, no, there is some cool design stuff there. Let's see what else. Oh, I also. Well, let me read this real quick. Noel Anderson. Hi there. That's not a name I immediately recognize. Which version of Power Rangers do you prefer? So I've answered this numerous times, but I don't mind mentioning it again. My favorite season overall, especially story-wise and character-wise, has to be Dino Thunder. I'm still, of course, very partial to the Mighty Morphin era because that's what I grew up on. I was there not from the beginning, but like middle of season 2, and then I was watching 3 religiously as that was coming out just after the movie. My favorite season, aesthetically, has always been Zeo. And I used to call that my favorite season overall until Dino Thunder, and then they were kind of tied. They were kind of neck and neck for a long time. And then I went back and looked at Zeo again, and there's some things in that season that kind of irk me. The Megazord fights never last long enough. It's always like a couple of blows and you're done, but Gold Ranger has always been my favorite Ranger, so I'm very partial to that. And then lore-wise, mythology-wise, cosmic stuff, the best season is absolutely Power Rangers in Space. Austin wants me to give a breakdown of my best and worst films of the year. I'm not confident right now in doing that, Austin, because I didn't see a whole lot of movies this last year, new stuff, and I feel like I would have to look at a list, and I didn't keep up with it the way you did because I just didn't see that many. I guess off the top of my head, I'd have to put in, I'm hesitating because I'm just going to say the obvious stuff, right? Because I didn't see a lot of off the beaten path stuff. I really liked Everything Everywhere All at Once, of course. Talked about that on the channel, and superhero-wise, the Batman easily edges out everything else. Kind of crazy to think that that's almost a year ago now. I guess that came out, in March? I think so, because we did Bat March, and I think we did that because that movie came out then, or was it April? I forget now. And then it took me a long time to finally get to it, but yes, Top Gun Maverick was as wonderful as everybody said it was. I particularly liked the outfit. That's a smaller movie that not enough people have seen. So there's a few really good movies. My worst movies probably are superhero movies. I want to say Super Pets, but somehow that was actually not as bad as the other Dwayne Johnson DC superhero movie this year. There's a phrase I never thought I would say, which was, of course, Black Adam, which is not great. Love and Thunder, somehow I liked slightly better than Ragnarok, but still on the whole, it's pretty awful. So yeah, there's some things. I must have seen bad movies that weren't superhero things, but that's what's jumping out at me right away. A tie I have not seen, Del Toro's Pinocchio. I've been hearing a lot of good things, and that's a story that I just can't get real excited about, so I didn't rush to go look at that. But like I said, hearing good things, so I'll probably eventually see that. Jar Jar Ed, $2 Super Chat. The Quantum Ranger arc in Time Force is perfection. I've still not sat through that part of Time Force. I started doing a watch through of that show a while back, and I got through the first 9 or 10 episodes, and I just haven't gotten back to it. This is a pattern with me with TV shows and other stuff. I just get busy and I get distracted by other things, and so I haven't gotten back to that yet. I also have the same thing with Jungle Fury. I've started that a couple of times recently and haven't managed to get through it. Adam March, I don't know, I went back and forth, but I think I now firmly put Love and Thunder below Ragnarok. Well, I would probably have to watch both again, and I don't want to, but, I'm going to have to at some point to do rewinds on them. Yeah, Morbius is up there, Alex, absolutely. That's of course, an awful superhero movie, but I also really expected it to. I thought there was a little bit of hope for Black Adam, and that didn't work out. I also really hated Let There Be Carnage, but was that this last year, or was that the year before? That must have been the year before, right? Is that 21? Everything is starting to really blend together for me. RJ, Godzilla, Black Widow, Doctor Strange 2, Thor 4, Eternal, Shang-Chi were all, oh my god, so bad. I don't have that. I didn't dislike every MCU movie that came out this last year, although you didn't put Black Panther 2 on that list, so maybe you liked that. But obviously, I've reviewed all this stuff, or at least most of this stuff, and I've been over this before, but Black Widow was mediocre at best, and then had one big retroactive plot decision, or I'm struggling to find the word, plot device that I just absolutely loathed, that really broke the whole thing for me by the third act. The idea that the Black Widows were basically just mind controlled, and they could kind of snap out of their programming with like an injection or something. It's been a while, I don't remember. I saw that movie one time, but I really hated that whole thing. That was like Captain Marvel, like a retroactive, or I should say retconning bad. But anyway, Let There Be Carnage was at least short. Yeah, not short enough for me, I guess. Austin, I haven't seen The Northman yet. I still really need to do that. But anyway, so Doctor Strange 2 I actually really liked. Eternals I enjoyed, and I haven't seen it again, but I liked it quite a bit in the theater. And Shang-Chi was also mediocre, but I would certainly put it above Black Widow. Got a $5 super chat from John Ty. Appreciate it, man. Which characterization do you prefer for Superman? Clark Kent is the real identity of Superman, or Superman being the real identity of Clark Kent? Generally speaking, Clark Kent has to be the real man, because Superman needs to keep his tie to humanity and not lose sight of his own humanity. He can't just be a god. And so, I don't know, conventionally, I'd say if you put Superman above Clark Kent, like that's, where that's his main identity, like the way he thinks of himself, like Bruce Wayne thinks of himself as Batman, that can be problematic. That could really take him maybe down the wrong path, or it's just not exactly the right way to look at it. Like, Clark Kent was a kid raised by a loving couple that gave him a particular value system, and he discovers in most iterations after that he is an alien from another planet, has godlike abilities, and could take over the whole world if he wanted to. Now, the other way, however, to look at it is Superman is altruistic. He always holds to those values. It's, nobody is perfect, but he has to force himself to be as close to that as possible. So he has to hold himself to standards that nobody else can, and in that way, he always has to be Superman. And Clark Kent is the disguise for that guy. So, like, I've always kind of seen both sides of this. There are a lot of folks that say, no, Clark Kent is always the man, and Superman is just a persona that he puts on. And I don't know if I exactly agree with that. I think that's absolutely true with Batman going the other way. And I do like kind of the idea of flipping them, because Batman and Superman are opposites in so many ways, but ultimately come together to want a lot of the same things, which is always really interesting in comparing them, where Batman is the man and Bruce Wayne is just a facade. So you flip that, and Clark Kent, the human persona, would be the real man. He's down to earth. He's not thinking of himself as this larger than life creature that has to be more than the sum of his parts all the time. He's in a way trying to be the opposite of that. He's trying to bring himself down to humanity's level so he doesn't live above them. And so he's the man, and the superhero identity, that costume, is the facade. But I think it's a little bit more complicated than that with at least, your more complex characterizations of Superman. This is easier to do in breaking down different versions of the character, of course, but generally speaking, I think it's a little of column A and a little of column B. Like, I think Superman needs Clark Kent, and Clark Kent needs Superman. And so, in a way, they kind of have to be both. I am really enjoying, by the way, already with Not Spawn Year. And that is, by the way, what I'm calling it. It's sort of a double entendre title. So I'm not reviewing Spawn comics, but it's also a year's worth of reviews, just like Spawn Year was. And it's a lot of fun jumping around and getting samplings of things that I've never read, or going back and reminding myself of things that I haven't thought about in a long time. And it's a really wonderful refresher and crash course back in comics. Like I said in that first episode, I'm really wanting to get back to my roots with that. I miss it. I haven't been touching or really thinking about comics much in a long time. And I also miss, and I haven't really talked about this on the show yet, I also miss, I mean, you guys haven't seen some of the episodes I've recorded yet because I've only posted the one, the physical issue. I have gone to digital primarily in the last few years for lots of reasons. A lot of it is convenience. And it's easier not to lose books, mess up books. In a house full of 5 kids, you have to think about these things. There's a certain percentage of breakage that you have to consider when you have toddlers running around the house. And I have a 4-year-old that is not maturing mentally, I think. I mean, that's a horrible way to put it. But, I mean, he's not as mature emotionally, I guess I should say, as his other brothers were by this age. So he still just gets into things and is kind of rough around the edges when he's playing. And so there's a certain amount of breakage. Like, occasionally stuff gets messed up. And then I've got little girls that aren't even 2 yet. And when they start running around more, there will also be more of that. So that's a thing that you really got to think about a little bit. But I forgot how much I enjoyed, like, thumbing through my books and looking at covers and pulling stuff out, looking at the ads, looking at letters pages, just the smell of old comics. There's certainly a nostalgia there. Of course, the smell is the most potent of the senses. It takes you back to early times in your life in a way that very little else can. And that's been a really nice part of the experience as well. And one of the big things that I think is hopefully going to help me not get burnt out on this whole thing too quickly. What else are folks talking about? AMC Comics or Easy Call? Yeah, and that's a whole other conversation as well. SS Jerry, hey, Mr. Logan, hi there, how's it going? Happy New Year. Before you went on break, I sent you some messages on Patreon, and I don't think you've read them. My apologies. I will check that out. I've been a little bit on blackout with social media just over the holiday, and I haven't checked messages in a couple places. So, and I didn't do that on purpose. When I say blackout, I just mean I haven't been checking my phone a lot. So, sorry if I missed messages, and I will check that out and see what you have to say. Also, patrons, let me say, if you have requests, my apologies for the hiatus on the request. We will get back to those with regular live shows again by the middle of the month. So that Wednesday, there will indeed be a request, and then we'll be back to weekly after that. And thanks, as always, once again to Austin for helping me keep up with those. He's been doing that with me for, a year and a half, almost 2 years now. And it is so nice to have a co-host for that show, somebody that I can discuss a thing with that I just looked at and knew nothing about before, instead of trying to come up with every interesting thing I can to discuss all by myself. It's wonderful to have a co-host for that whole thing. Adam March, happy to see regular comic reviews, even if we don't get 365 episodes of the series. And that's my thinking, too. That's the goal. I'm really going to try. But if it doesn't work out, it's not a thing that I'm abandoning. You're not going to... And I mean, even if I quit, you'd have, a short series of a bunch of, random disparate issues that just didn't go as long as I had planned. And I don't want to promise anything. I think that's unfair to you guys, but I'm really going to try. I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's a thing that I didn't think of it exactly in this form, but I missed the old daily vaults that I did years and years ago. I never did it 7 days a week, but I did it for a while, most of the weekdays, 4 or 5 days, and it was just a lot of fun to explore and jump around. Hey, here's an announcement that I'd like to make. I haven't posted this on social media yet, but just for you guys that were cool enough to pop in tonight, or anybody that happens to look at this after the fact, you'll hear it here first, and then maybe I'll post about it tomorrow or later in the week. But Austin and I are, speaking of abandoned series, we are bringing something back this year that we're going to be doing twice a month, and on Fridays again, just like we had before. We've streamlined it. We've dropped some movies out of the lineup, but we are going to go back to Video Game Movie Mania. We did 3 of them and then jumped ship because there didn't seem to be enough interest in it, and Austin and I had a bunch of other things on this lengthy list we keep adding to of stuff we wanted to do on Fridays. And the idea, which I was always skeptical if it would work, but the idea for a while was, well, we'll just make, because there doesn't seem to be enough interest in it, we'll just make Video Game Movie Mania one of the many things on that list that people on Patreon can vote for if they want us to do it on Fridays. And we haven't put it on the vote much or at all. Honestly, I'm not sure, because it's been hard to prioritize with other fun things that we came up with, and we've been having a lot of fun with mini marathons and things, and so we decided maybe because we've been getting some requests for it, we've been getting some questions about it, and we started looking back at the numbers, and what we realized was, first of all, those first 3 movies, none of them were actually based on a video game, and the stuff that people were excited to see, we just haven't gotten to yet. And so it may not be that there's not interest in the series, but that we just weren't. It was kind of like premature material, you know. It was kind of, we were kind of in a prologue place, and people didn't want to watch the prologue. They wanted to watch the first episode, which would be the Super Mario Brothers movie. So like, when are you going to get to that, and then keep moving forward? We're not doing some commentaries that we've done before, but I think Mario was still in there because Austin hasn't done a commentary on that. I think we're doing that. And I think he told me maybe he's never seen that movie. I can't remember. But anyway, we are indeed going to bring that back twice a month, and it's going to mostly be movies now based on actual video games. We're still going to do some things that are... We're just not going to do as much proto stuff and as much super obscure stuff. We still only have it narrowed down to like 60 movies. I think we're probably going to drop even a little bit more out of it. So at the moment, if we did everything on the list and we were able to commit to twice a month, 24 videos in the year, it would still take us 2 years to do the whole thing. And that may end up being what happens. But we are indeed going to get back to it, and we will be doing that the first week we come back. So we're going to do The Wizard. So we're going to do some movies that are very related to video games, not just tangentially, that aren't technically based on a video game, but still fit too well in this mold and might be just fun to talk about. Jason has begged me forever to do a commentary on The Wizard, and that would be really fun if Brandon showed back up for that one as well. I've messaged him. He wants to continue doing that show with us as much as possible. That was a running joke. He was supposed to be just a guest on that show. We've only made 3 of them, and he was in all of them. So I'm going to bring him back for as many of them as humanly possible. They will remain blind commentaries. We won't be doing any preparation for those whatsoever. It is strictly a standard old school Mania, in that they're watch parties, we're goofing around, we're watching them, we're reacting in the moment. We'll talk about things that we know, if we've seen the movie or if we know things about it, but it is just a good time watching and responding to movies based on video games or that have to do with video games. We'll be doing other things like Ready Player One and stuff like that as well down the line. So anyway, if that is a thing that you were kind of bummed that we quit doing, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. That is coming back. Tom, $5 super chat. Thank you so very much. I appreciate you, buddy. You're the best on YouTube. I don't agree with that, but I appreciate you. Are you... I mean, I try. I really do. Are you going to do a Christmas haul video this year? You know, I thought about it. I'm not sure. I haven't done that kind of thing in quite a while. when Jason was real little, we used to show off the cool geeky stuff that he got, and I'm a little bit worried that it comes off kind of self-indulgent. I don't know. Not that I ever got any complaints about it or anything, but I might. It could be fun. I really haven't gotten anything especially geeky myself this year. It's been mostly practical stuff. It seems like the older you get, the more, and I'm not complaining, because I'm also finding that the older I'm getting, the more I want more kind of practical stuff, I guess. But yeah, more practical stuff. My son Freddie got me mixers for alcohol, which is hilarious. But he told his mom he wanted to get me beer, and she was like, "That's kind of weird, 8-year-old." But then they found mixers, so they got me that. So I've been experimenting with stuff that I haven't really had very much before, and I've been mixing margaritas, which has been really fun. And we just did fajitas tonight, and I had a margarita, which was delicious. That was a lot of fun. But anyway, yeah, so kind of more practical stuff for me. But the kids got plenty of really fun, neat, geeky stuff, and yeah, there are a few things that might be cool to show on camera. Probably, yeah, I'd probably just do like a select few things. Like I got Freddie the Sonic Encyclopedia, the big hardcover deluxe version, because it was on sale, and I was really excited to find it for the price that I did. And like sealed, brand new. It was, I think, half price, and it comes with some cool extra stuff, and it's got a really neat cover. But it's the Sonic Encyclopedia, which is a great companion to the Mario Encyclopedia that he and Jason have been reading cover to cover over and over again for the last, like 3 years, I think. AMC, Cap, how do you feel about the Spectacular and Unlimited Spideys being confirmed for Across the Spider-Verse and on the poster? I have not been looking real close at exactly which Spider-Mans are being featured in that movie. Nothing surprises me. Like, I kind of figure anything you've ever heard of will probably win its way onto that. And I don't want to be a party pooper for folks that are really excited about all the crossover stuff. Any of that I gotta be brutally honest with this. Any of that with multiversal crossover with comic book movies, just in general, that ever got me really excited and hyped, has kind of worn off by now. I can't get stoked about that just by itself anymore. It seems easy. It's kind of what's in right now. It used to be a novelty. It used to be a big deal when some of these things that you never thought you'd see on screen could cross over, and now it's the hip cool thing. It's hip. It's wow. That's what we do now. After, and the novelty for me with the first Spider-Verse movie was not, hey, look, we put all these Spider-Man characters together, because I never thought that Spider-Man lent itself to that idea as much as Batman. I've always said this, that for me, Spider-Man's not like Batman, where there are like 101 different ways to do that character. The movie won me over on the idea quite a bit, because it inverts it thematically and says the idea isn't that there are a bazillion different ways to reinterpret Spider-Man and they're all Spider-Man. It's that everybody, no matter how different they are from Peter Parker, has some sense of responsibility, has some amount of power, and therefore should have a sense of responsibility. And in that way, we're all Spider-Man. So it isn't, because the Batman thing is, you can have a super dark and gritty Batman, or you can have a really lighthearted and campy Batman, and somehow or rather, they all count. They all end up still being Batman, feeling like Batman. And I've always said Ninja Turtles has that too. For some reason, it's difficult to explain why that all works. But the idea was never with Batman, we're all Batman. Batman's a character that in a lot of ways I can relate to, but Spider-Man is much more of an everyman, of course, kind of character. We are all Spider-Man in a way, and so I really appreciated Spider-Verse doing that. The novelty for that wasn't, hey, multiverse, there's all these different iterations. We finally get to see them on screen together. Yay! It was, the exciting thing for me was we did that, and we still somehow told a really compelling, character-driven story about a singular Spider-Man, and the rest of them were supporting cast for him, and that was great. I didn't want a sequel that was more Spider-Verse. I really don't have any interest in that, and I hope that it ends up being great and that it can, catch that lightning in a bottle again. But it's just not what I wanted, so I'm having a hard time getting stoked about that. So any, variations of Spider, you said Ultimate and Spectacular, could be interesting. It's I will say, I guess it's a little bit surprising that that Spectacular is there. That's, I guess it's, is it rights issues, or is it contract stuff? I don't know, but like, that's not even on Disney Plus. That's sitting in another streaming service right now. Is it Netflix? I forget. Somebody actually has that now. You can finally watch it streaming, but because for the longest time it was just missing. It wasn't anywhere. But anyway, yeah. So hopefully, I have the same thing I did with the first one, but I'm real burnt out on the multiverse thing at the moment. And I like multiverse as a concept. I always have. I've never been, flat out against it, like some comic fans that feel like it's just a gimmick in the first place and you can't tell cool stories with it. I wrote my first novel about multiverse. I love multiverse. I think there's a lot of really interesting things that you can do with that and still make it character driven. And it's not just, oh wow, isn't that weird? It's this character that you already knew, but in this universe, he's a robot. And we had to do, the Spider-Verse thing already in MCU, and then now the sequel to Spider-Verse in animation in another universe, and the only one that I'm really invested in right now is also more Spider-Verse. And one of my issues at the moment too is that now when people think Spider-Man, they think interdimensional. They think a bunch of different Spider-Mans or spider people from different universes. They don't just think Peter Parker. Now they think Miles Morales and Spider-Gwen and all these different Spider-Mans. And yes, a lot of those characters are wonderful. Yes, yay, diversity in superhero fiction, superhero comics. But Spider-Man is Peter Parker. And I feel like we're losing sight of that character to some degree, if not in stories, and we are in stories too, but just culturally, like it's not about the guy anymore, and I think that's kind of unfortunate. Senior Sticks, $2 super chat, new tattoos for 2023, at least one. There are a couple of things that I really like to do this year. My plan right now, probably next month or the month after, I'm going to have to save up for it a little bit, is I want a companion piece on my left leg to the one I've got on my right. I have a Mojo Bubbles tattoo on my right leg, and I want to get a Ninja Turtles tattoo on the left. And I'm actually planning on getting a tattoo of my least favorite Ninja Turtle, which is weird. It was Michelangelo. Not that I hate Michelangelo, he's just never been my favorite, because my son's name is Mikey, and Mikey loves Michelangelo. So I'm going to do a Mikey, and I'm going to have Elmo do it again, who's done 6 of my 8 tattoos and all my color stuff, and he's just a color wizard, that guy. And I brought this up before, but my plan is to let Elmo completely design it. I'm going to give him very little in the way of parameters. I want to go as close to a Mirage look as possible, but beyond that, I'm going to let him completely design it, not show it to me at all, tattoo it on my leg, and I'm not even going to know what it looks like until it's permanent and I can't take it off. And I'm really excited about doing it that way. I trust him. I think it's going to be really cool. And he's stoked about it too, because he's never gotten to do a Ninja Turtle in that style before. And then beyond that, later in the year, I've been talking about a Sega sleeve for a long time. I have my Sonic and Knuckles tattoo, and then I've got my Knights tattoo here. So I've already got some Sega on this arm, and I kind of want to fill in with more Sega stuff. There's not a ton of space left, but Elmo says there's still enough to do a cool sleeve. So I'm talking about maybe doing that. I don't know if that'll happen this year. I am kicking around maybe some kind of small Spawn Year tattoo, because it's the 10th anniversary of that show, and I'm very proud of the work we did with that, and it's real, I don't know, just tied to my creative history, and I can't get away from it in a lot of ways. It's that project really taught me a lot of skills in storytelling and editing and all that good stuff, and so it makes sense to get a tattoo for that of some kind. I'm thinking about maybe doing a Spawn clock that would have the date that Spawn Year started on it, as the numbers in the clock. But yeah, those are the few things that I've been thinking about doing maybe for this year. But the Ninja Turtles tattoo is the priority. I've been talking about that for a while. And I may, sometime this year, especially after I get that, do a quick video just showing all my tattoos for folks that haven't seen them all yet. Because I posted about them disparately as I've gotten them. But in case you're keeping score, or in case you're not, but you're interested, I have 8 now, and I got them all last year. This is a new hobby that I got into, and I got my Geekvolution tattoo, my G, and I thought that's all I would do, and I didn't really think that it would, like, my sister-in-law had to talk me into it. She is a big fan of tattoos, and has been trying to get me to get one for a long time, and I was going to give me a gift card for Christmas last year, and couldn't figure out what shop in town to do that with, so she took me there. And or I found a place, the place that I go, that I've gotten all my tattoos, and we went together, and we had a lovely time, and I took to it in a way I really didn't expect that I would, and it was a catharsis for me during those really difficult early months with the twins, and it was oddly a kind of an escape for me, and a way to blow off steam, which I know sounds like a very strange thing, maybe, to, permanently tattoo something on your body to make you more comfortable, and, as kind of a relaxation thing. I like the whole process of it, and it was just kind of a thrill that I needed in the middle of, not getting any sleep, and dealing with, doing 2 of something that's hard enough with just the 1, and even though that's all easier now, and I don't need something like that in a way I felt like I did early on, I still love it. It's still a lot of fun, and so I'm definitely going to get at least 2 more sometime this year. I'm not going to get a forehead tattoo, Austin. Stop it. AMC No Cap Unlimited is back. Just something I never thought I'd see again. Oh, okay. I guess I read over that and thought you said Ultimate. Yeah, Unlimited is the cartoon that was right after the 90s animated series, and yeah, like, I get looking at that, with all due respect, like I get looking at that and going, like, wow, I never thought I'd see that again, but it's so in to look these days to look for the weird obscure stuff, or the stuff that used to be obscure. Everything's coming kind of back up to the surface now. Like, that's on Disney Plus, and I don't mean to say that if it shows up there, it's no longer obscure. There's still a lot of people that don't know what that is. But all I'm saying is, from the outside looking in, thinking about the producers, the people putting together those movies, it's not impressive to me that they're doing their research, because, they should do that, and finding those things and throwing it all together. I hope it's fun. It could be really cool and kind of novel to get to see that come back again. But as soon as they greenlit, another multiversal movie, and it was going to be that whole thing again, I'm like, and with the after credit scene of the first movie, where we go back to cartoon 60s Spider-Man, which I didn't love as much as a lot of other people. I'm like, okay, yeah, we're going to go to the weeds and throw in as much as humanly possible, and try to impress people with, oh yeah, you remember that? Yeah, it's a Spider-Man cartoon that was on TV. Like, if they threw it, and some of the problem, I guess, is again, novelties worn off for me because I went through all this already with the CW. There were some things that I never thought we'd see come back again that were a big deal to me for a minute. And then they were lame and tiny cameos, and characters were out of character, and it wasn't well handled. And so, even if this is great, I can't get stoked about it in the first place because I've been there and I've done that, and there was a chance for it to be a very magical moment for me, and it didn't work out. And so I'm not like I don't need that now. And because crossover stuff has been done well enough in other things that I'm not itching for it. I'm not begging for it. Like my version of this weirdly is Days of Future Past. And there's other things that scratch that itch, like Batman Ninja Turtles, which I talk up a lot because I think it's really good. The animated movie, and also Turtles Forever, one of the best multiversal crossover things that ever happened in animation. But I was gonna say, maybe we'll see like MTV Spider-Man. It could be really fun seeing all the different animation styles and stuff thrown together. But again, I've also had that itch scratched a little bit with things like the Lego Movie, when you take a bunch of different properties that can all be thrown together in a blender, and it was actually handled pretty well. I'm not trying to ruin anybody's good time. I hope it is a really great time. I'm just having a hard time getting excited. I don't know, like, yay! I just don't feel that way, is all. Tom is giving me tattoo ideas. $5 super chat. How about the spawn clock with both dates, the beginning and the end, like how some people do a memorial tattoo? Sorry, the fan game's been delayed again. He's talking about an RPG that he's been developing for the channel. Sorry to hear that, Tom, but I'm excited to see it when you finally get it finished. Apologies, I'm having a hard time staying hydrated here. Staying lubricated. But anyway, yeah, that's not a bad idea. Maybe that's actually what I was originally thinking about doing, because I sort of half designed one with Ty last year. I was kicking this around at the beginning when I was first getting tattoos. Maybe that is what we did with it. I can't remember. Let's see. I kind of want to get past this whole Spider-Man thing just because I feel like I'm kind of spinning my wheels with it a little bit. About 12 minutes left if I stay for a whole hour. Throw out more questions if there's anything else you guys want me to talk about tonight. And thanks so much, everybody, for being here. I missed it. I can't go 2 weeks without jumping on camera and being on a stream. So much stuff that I want to do this year. I always do this. I always get really jazzed when a new year starts. I fall into that trap. Not the New Year's resolution trap exactly. Like, I'm not really making a resolution. I guess besides, I'm gonna try to make 365 of these shows. I guess it's a New Year's resolution in the sense that I'm doing it at the start of the year. So I suppose it counts, but I wasn't thinking about it exactly in those terms, not using that word. But I suppose it is that. I always do this. It always feels like a refresher. I always have this beautiful, perfect picture in my mind of what the year will look like, and I get really ambitious, and I have all these grand ideas, and I gotta temper myself. I gotta be careful that I'm not insane, and I promise a bunch of stuff that I can't deliver on. But at the same time, I can't help but try to do wild and exciting things that I want to try to challenge myself with and make happen, even as I'm too busy for so much stuff that I actually want to do. I announced last year that we're doing a Superhero Rewind movie. That is indeed still going to happen. I haven't gotten on the ball yet getting the script written. We've got the story broken. We've got there are some there are a few check marks I've gotta do before I can actually sit down and fully write the script, because I have to have a good sense of locations and budget and what exactly I'm gonna be able to do for it. It's going to be obviously a super small budget movie. It will be in the realm of Spawn years, so nobody get like too excited, but I just need to know what resources I have so that I can write to those resources. I don't want to give away too much yet. I have been working on the break, on putting my feelers out and figuring out what I've got access to. I have one location already panned out that I think is going to up the production value of this greatly, and I'm talking to a couple of people about some other places and items and things. One thing I will tell you, well, do I want to even give that away? I don't think I do. I feel like Captain America at the end of Endgame. I don't think I will. There's one thing I'm thinking about doing that's gonna also be a little time consuming when I get to it. For the movie that, if it pans out, will hopefully translate the screen and be really cool, I guess is all I'll say. But right now, tentatively, I'm hoping to shoot that movie by the end of this year or the beginning of next year. Originally, my hope was that that would be the big 10th anniversary Spawn Year thing, and then I came up with the Not Spawn Year project, and I went, that's kind of perfect to celebrate the 10th anniversary of Spawn Year, and let's like really take our time with the movie and not rush it, and make sure that we're all sufficiently inspired and motivated to make that movie as great as it can be, and try to get it out for next year. Spawn Year ended, the big finale, a lot of the quote-unquote cinematic stuff was in 2014. Let's try to get the movie out by the end of 2024, and that's my thinking right now. I want to really take my time on it and do it right. All I'll say right now is the movie, again, it's called Superhero Rewind, the movie. That is a double, if not triple entendre title. It will be a movie about superhero movie review, and it will be a superhero movie. That's all I want to say about it, about it story-wise. And it will star both me and Jason, which I think I have talked about. And it is a 50-50 collaboration with me and Jason. He's 12, going on 30. That kid has so many good ideas. He has really great acting chops. He acts circles around me. He's so good. And I honestly think that I will probably, because I'm not much of an actor, I think I'll turn in a better performance because I'm acting off of Jason. And I am just thrilled to put that together. So that is the big, really ambitious project we're going to be working on this year, and I hope to start putting pencil to paper not too long from now. But like I said, I'm gonna really take my time with it. Let's see what else folks are saying. I see a couple other super chats here. Thanks, guys. John Ty, $5 super chat. I would rather have spin-off movies with the Spider-Verse characters in their own universe than another Spider-Verse movie. Yeah, me too. That's my big reservation with it. And it was kind of odd that a bunch of projects like that got announced, and then we've never heard anything else about them, as far as I know. Like, there was supposed to be all these TV shows starring some of those characters. Maybe something with the pandemic. I don't know. Sony has a history of announcing projects and then they never see the time of day. And I can't help but, and maybe this is unfair, and we'll see what that movie looks like. With what we've seen so far, I mean, it looks like more of the same. I like that movie, so that's fine. But I have a hard time not worrying that Sony overall is just too big for their britches with Spider-Man projects, or tangential Spider-Man projects that are not actually Spider-Man spin-offs, even though they call them that because they're not in a universe with Spider-Man, and he doesn't interact with these characters when they spin off with the live-action stuff with Venom and Morbius, the Kraven, etc. And I just hope that doesn't end up affecting or infecting the Spider-Verse franchise too much. But yeah, I was so excited about 2099, at the end of Spider-Verse, and I just wanted him to get his own movie. There's so much rich lore for Peter David's Spider-Man for 2099, that why can't we just do Alchemax? Why can't we just go to the future and have a whole movie there? I think people would eat that up with a spoon, especially considering that people have wanted a Batman Beyond movie forever, and Spider-Man 2099 is also really super cool, and it predates that by several years, of course, and it's been big again in the comics for well over a decade now. There's no good reason not to do that. Make it a series or make it a movie. And with the Spider-Verse thing, it's hard not to worry that it's just about branding, that it's just kind of a cynical corporate mandate. Oh, that movie was successful and we didn't expect it to win an Oscar, so you can't be really creative and let things go their own way. You've got to make a Spider-Verse sequel. Now, maybe that's not fair. Maybe that was always the plan. But it reads real typical corporate movie making, where I've said this a lot, but I guess I'm still talking about this. I realize that it's a business, of course, and that we're talking about consumer art. We're talking about art that is sold to a consumer. So there is some blend of telling a story and in making art and making money with it that you have to find. It can't just be art over business, because you wouldn't have the art if it wasn't for the business. I get all of that, but we've seen that balance in lots of stuff, and if I hadn't seen that, I would not be a pop culture fan. I would not be a mainstream guy like I have been for ever. Tom, another super chat, $5 super chat, appreciate you, man. I've started showing my Jason, he means his son Jason, Smallville. Have you given any more thought into bringing Counting Crypto Freaks back in some capacity? I'm always thinking about Smallville. I mean, not always. It's like day to day. God, I can't stop thinking about Smallville. I'm thinking about doing something with that show again on the channel all the time, and it's been really difficult to come up with a thing that will make the majority of us happy. I've thought about, I've canceled Counting Crypto Freaks a couple of times now. I tried to bring it back last year. The interest was not high enough. I didn't feel like, I guess those videos have done a little bit better retroactively, which makes me think maybe there's enough interest to go back to them. The Michael Rosenbaum and Tom Welling podcast has made me go back and forth on it, because on the one hand, I've thought, well, there's no reason to ever bring it back now because those guys have a show, so why would I want to compete with that? People are already getting their fill of Smallville reviews. Why do they need one from me? But then there's another part of me that goes, yeah, but what I do is different from what they do, and it's a little bit more story analysis, and it's from, of course, a different perspective. So, I've always said that there's room for lots of different reviews of different things, because we've all got different opinions and different backgrounds, and our lenses are different. And so maybe there would be a place for me to finally come back to that and kind of follow along with where they are once they catch up to where I left off, and then maybe respond to their shows, like watch their show, do my commentary, and then have their ideas and thoughts in the back of my mind and kind of, piggyback off of that. And there's a little bit of, I don't know, that makes sense to me too. But I put out a poll a while back to see what kind of interest there was in what kind of thing I should do with Smallville, and only 15% out of the people that voted, and I don't remember how many, what the response was to that. It was at least a couple hundred. It might have been 3, and only 15% said they wanted me to go back to episode-to-episode reviews. I've really steered away from serialized commitments like that, where you have to, which is part of the reason that certain projects have not continued on the channel, because there hasn't been as much interest from our audience at large in having to keep up with a thing episode to episode, so much as stuff that you can kind of come in and out of and cherry pick, and things like this new comic review series I'm doing, where you could watch any episode in any order you want to, as opposed to, okay, you've got to follow along with me watching every episode of Smallville. It's a commitment. Just watching a TV show is enough of a commitment. And so people much more wanted season overviews, and that's been where my head has been leaning, and just finding the time to binge watch something over just, sitting down and reading a thing and reviewing it, a couple, 3-4 hours is a little bit more reasonable for, my lifestyle at the moment. And so that's a lot of why I haven't been back to Smallville yet. But I don't want to completely give up on it. I feel weird having never finished that. So I've not decided exactly what I'm doing with that yet. Hi, Blue Dragon 5. Happy New Year to you as well. Miguel Rodriguez. Hi there. Hey, Cap. Got Marvel Unlimited for a month since I'm on break and I have time to read some comics. Anything you recommend to read before my subscription is up? Audience members, please chime in too. Oh, goodness. Well, I mean, the whole of Marvel that happens to be on Unlimited, and it's spotty. There are runs of things that they're missing issues of, which can be kind of rough. And I don't know what you've read. I don't know what you're familiar with. If you've never done any Daredevil, yeah, I mean, I'm going to mention some kind of obvious stuff, but the Frank Miller run, and then Born Again, the Bendis stuff, I haven't read all of that, but what I've read of that I really like. And then a little bit later than that, the Mark Waid run, I like a lot. So I don't know, maybe do a deep dive into Daredevil. That's the first thing that comes to me, or start a deep dive, I guess you say, before your subscription runs out, because you're not going to hang on to it. So like something you could jump in and read real quick. First thing that comes to mind is Marvels by Kurt Busiek, one of my absolute favorite comic stories, miniseries, graphic novels of all time. What else? Yeah, chime in, folks. There's a couple of ideas for you, though. Spider-Man Life Story is interesting. Austin says it's a mixed bag. He says it's pretty good, but the last issue is pretty bad. I reviewed it, and I don't 100% even remember what I said about it. I think overall I liked it okay, though. Oh, yeah, Daredevil Yellow is a good call. Okay, I am over an hour, so I am going to go ahead and get going. But thanks a lot for watching, guys. My first stream of the year. And again, I'll probably be back and stream again once or twice more before we get back to regular nightly streams. Starting on the 16th, but I've got to go review some comics, so I'm going to get going. But really appreciate your support, really appreciate you guys sticking around, and I'm excited for the year. Like I said earlier, I always get really ambitious, and I've got this like kind of perfect idea for what I want the whole year to look like, that I'm never able to 100% stick the landing for, because I get too grand. I'm such an idea guy. Sometimes I wish I could just like throw ideas at like a staff, like a bunch of other people, and get them to make things for me, because I don't have time to do everything I wanted. I have so much stuff that I want to tackle. But I'm going to do this comic thing, and I really think that there's a chance that I'll manage the everyday thing. I've never been able to do that with anything, but I'm really going to try. So, yeah, folks, thanks for being here. And Austin says that I missed a super chat, so let me go find it. Oh, Eric Verhaler92, another name I don't recognize. I'm fading, folks. Thoughts on Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey? Will you watch it? Or are you for it or against it? Yeah, we've talked about this on the Captain Logan show. I don't have any interest in that at all. It's it just seems like I don't have anything interesting to say about this whole thing. Like, it seems inevitable. As soon as something like that that's beloved and that is wholesome goes into the public domain, of course somebody's going to make a silly horror film about it. And it's a thing that the horror genre loves to do because horror and comedy are so close to each other. They end up hitting a lot of the same beats, so it's fun for people to make what is essentially like gross out shock factor parody of things, just like you might make a comedic parody of something. And of course that will probably be comedic in its way anyway. But how many things have we done this with, whether we own the rights to it or not, in coming up with various ways to make like dark, gritty, horrifying versions of things that you think of as wholesome and lighthearted. Like, there's something inherently, of course, perverse and weird about that, and it's a thing that appeals to some people, certainly. And I don't want to say that it never appeals to me. I can't think of like a great example where I've loved that treatment for a thing, but I do like sometimes seeing things get turned on their heads, and seeing like a totally different take on something, where you take something that is usually meant for children and you make it very, very adult, or vice versa. And I mean, if you think about it, that's kind of what's fun about 60s Batman. Like, it's taking something that is at the root of it, a darker vigilante idea, and making it silly and lighthearted and poking fun at the thing through the thing. So I get the appeal to some degree for a thing like that. That looks to a lot of people, and I think I agree with this, very cash-in-y, because it's so soon after the rights to Winnie the Pooh went in the public domain. Anybody can do this, so of course somebody is. And the fact that so many people are talking about it means that that was a smart strategy in selling that, and it will probably make money if it doesn't look like it was made on $3.50, or maybe even if it is. So yeah, I don't really have any interest in it, because I don't care for those kinds of films generally anyway. So like, it's just not my genre in the first place. But I also don't want to like come out against it so hard as to say like, that's you're ruining somebody's childhood, or that kind of thing should never be done with, like the intellectual property is precious, and nothing should ever go in public domain, so this kind of thing never happens. People can just ignore what they don't like and what they think doesn't work, and maybe it's a little bit sticky if something like that were to catch on too hard and were to become like the new gold standard or something. That might be unfortunate, but I also think that's a risk that you have to take in allowing for self-expression, allowing for people to make whatever kind of art that they want to, and you just gotta hope that overall the culture kind of survives it. So I don't think it's morally incorrect or anything. I just don't want it myself. I just don't care myself. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. All right, folks, I'm going to get going. Thanks a bunch for being here, and I will see you very soon with lots more stuff here on Geekvolution. Bye, everybody.